back, episode 150, another colossal landmark episode. Only 49 to go for 200. Yeah, welcome. Another week's gone. Some more techies have been played. Cavern's been completed, etc, etc, etc. Marco and Adam, welcome to the pod as always. How are you doing this week, Marco?
Yeah, doing very well, thanks. Episode... I'm on 152.
Are we on 152?
No, it's 151.
Is it 151?
But Stan said 150.
Did I? Oh, we're all wrong. Did I completely bottle that intro there?
Well, you said it was 150, but we were 49 from 200.
Oh, sorry.
UK maths.
UK maths. Oh,
I meant to say 151. I meant to say episode 151.
Okay.
Sorry. I've confused everyone. I actually confused myself last week because usually I edit the pod and release it, and then I do at everyone on the Discord to announce its release. But last week we recorded early, and I did the delayed publishing or whatever. So it randomly released 2 days after we'd done it, and 2 days after I'd edited it when I was pretty much on holiday. And I checked my phone, and it was like, Nemistice podcast is uploaded, because obviously I've subscribed or whatever. And I got confused for 5 minutes. I was like, wait a second, what's going on? And I remembered that was actually intended. That was the intended release date. So there you are. But yeah, how's the Dota been treating you, Marco? You been playing much, or?
It's been poor performance the last couple of weeks. Not been able to play that much, but got a Nemistice shout out to make. That's good enough, right?
Nice. I mean, summer. I feel like the whole of the guild's slacking at the moment in summer.
Yeah,
it's kind of.
Where's that cull? We need to do the new meta purge.
Yeah. No, I feel you. Yeah. Once
that film is what I'm talking about.
Oh,
but
the
it'll
purge.
Also have a purge element to the process. Fight for your place.
No rules. Yeah. How are you doing this week, Adam?
Good, I'm winning. So that's nice. After
Nice?
the week before of not winning any games. Now
Wow, bounce back.
we turned it around. We played a couple games together.
Yeah, certainly did. I played quite a few games, or at least the last couple of days I've played a few. Before that I didn't play for a while, but last couple of days, yeah, smashing. Got some good Cavern wins in there. I mean, we'll get to it when we get to games, because I've had a big triumph and a big defeat based on last week's Stat Corner, where we talked about our best and worst heroes. Got a couple of games in with two of my worst heroes and got one win and one loss, so that's quite fun. I look forward to talking about that. I don't think there's any housekeeping or preliminary things to discuss. Marco, do you want to talk about your games? I don't know, this Nemistice shout out that you have.
Yeah, short and sweet segment on games. I've not been able to play last week, but what I did manage to do, and I guess maybe we'll talk more about this anti-mage hero later in the pod, but I tried out anti-mage and Nemistice, and I was gearing up for this offlane anti-mage playstyle, manly anti-mage Nemistice gaming, and anyway, it turned out to be my record win. We won the game in 7 minutes 31 seconds.
Wow.
22 kills to 1. I was solo against a Wind Ranger and Ogre and just double kills. I had one Nemistice shard, got a double kill, and then they'd come back to lane and just kind of bully them away, kill them. It was actually disgusting. 7 minute 30 win. So that was pretty fun. So I need to now bring that AM performance into Turbo. Then I'll take it to the bots. Then I'll take it to a private lobby, and then I'll go unranked, and it'll be verified.
Nice. And then ranked. That's the journey. The full. We don't skip any steps.
Yeah.
Nice. Do you rate anti-mage in Nemistice, or was this just did you win because you had IO basically?
What you've seen the
I'm on the scoreboard now.
Yeah. IO did bits, and he was on the complete opposite side of the map. IO and, I don't know, Axe just running at people. But I did my own bits on the left-hand side. I wanted to play the hero again, so I re-queued Nemistice and it's banned. It's just, honestly, banning in Dota is so tilting. So I've only done it once, but I'm keen to do it again. I don't know. 7 minute 30 of playtime is probably not enough to make a informed comment. I think I need a bit more sample size.
I don't know what you guys think, but I almost feel like the Nemistice meta has come round to actually be reasonably balanced. When it first came out, people were spamming cheesy heroes, push heroes, almost as if Dota had first come out, and people were like, oh my god, this Pugner and Nature's Prophet can go anywhere, let's just play these. But now I feel like I see a lot more variety in the heroes. There are some that are better than others, no doubt, but I feel like it's interesting, the meta progression.
Yeah, I feel like one thing I noticed in these couple of games I've played is that there sometimes will be an enemy hero that would zone you from a lane, and to me I was like, oh wow, feels like a completely new playstyle, like quite serious Dota playstyle of not just going for creeps or like having skirmishes which are fun, but zoning someone out the lane for economic reasons. I was like, oh, that's kind of pretty advanced stuff. So yeah, it feels like it's quite sophisticated now.
Yeah, you're
smiley face.
You're a sophisticated gamer.
Yeah.
Nemistice, yeah. Nice. Adam, you've been winning. The listeners want to know what's been going on. This big turnaround from last week.
Just Cavern Heroes. You know?
Easy.
Yeah, it just happened to win some games. Dota ebbs and flows. Sometimes you lose like 16 out of 20, and then other times you win 6 out of 7.
Yeah.
It started off, I got a support on the crawl, so I played Witch Doctor. Easy win, because that hero's good, and then it's like, oh, streak is broken, now I can play whatever. Ripped off a Slark and a Phantom Lancer win, which are not ones that typically happen.
Yeah, I was in that Slark game, I remember. Solid.
Yeah, that one was 15-1 and 16. Just a farm fest. Have a consumed Ags and a Shard. Like, it's not often that you get to buy an Ags on a hero and then you buy the recipe to make the slot open. Yeah. And it's just like, yeah, that Slark is a scary hero, especially with that new Ag Shard. The depth charge or whatever, where you make the shadow dance on a area of effect.
Yeah. What's it called? Depth charge, I believe. Something like that.
Yeah. And that was like, we were like sieging high ground. You can throw that on a tower and just hit the tower and they can't get to you. Because they had a Tinker on their team. So it's like, you need to be able to hit the building actually at some point. Between Shadow Dance and Depth Charge and Dark Pact, you can actually contend with a Tinker as a Slark. But I played a Lich and a Spirit Breaker more. Those are standard, but those are nice to get into your Cavern 2 wins. And then the last game I played was a 70-minute long 4-position Weaver game. And that was very fun. Marco would probably have lost his head because 4-position Weaver. But I went a Medallion and then got an Ags. And it is so fun to save people with Weaver Ags, especially when the other team has techies and a middle Lion who has 23 stacks of finger. So it's like,
Damn.
It's like they try and 100 to 0 somebody really quick, and you're like, whoop, go back. And it was just like a super intense Omega late game. You know, it's like 70 minutes. I haven't had tier 5 items in so long. There's a techies on the team, so people are exploding all over the place. There's a mid lion that's 100 to 0ing people all over the place. There's an enemy Spectre super late game. Both teams have an Ex Machina, so there's like refreshed BKBs. My team has 3 Aeon Discs and 2 Lotus Orbs, so like spells are getting reflected and people aren't dying because Aeon procs. We have a Dragon Knight that's level 30 with a Stygian Desolator and an Overwhelming Blink and like Black Dragon. I have a Octarine Core, which has the Aether Lens in it, plus a Seer Stone. So I have Omega range on saves. And also the Seer Stone active, this reveals Techie's Minds, which is...
Ooh. Oh, wow, that's pretty sick.
Yeah, it's like a scan that gives vision. It's like a StarCraft 2 Command Center scan.
Yeah.
And I have Lotus and Lincoln, so it's like, alright, time to go siege. I'll Lotus and Lincoln our DK or our Pugna. And then if they get gone on, I'll ult them out. And Weaver 25 now, it's either the +1 Gemini or instead of like +200 move speed on Shikuchi, now it's 2 Sakuchi charges. That feels real good. Especially with like cooldown reduction. Like you're just Sakuchiing all over the place. There's no downtime. Gotta try and like position yourself, because the one thing with time-lapse, it's got like the most terrible range on cast on a teammate. But once you have Aether Lens and Seer Stone, you're like, this is it.
Seer Stone's insane. Like the range on Seer Stone's crazy.
Yeah, I love that it was like I got to use it too. It's not often that a Weaver would be the guy that gets to use it. But our middle Pugna had Ex Machina, and our DK was the damage hitter, offlane DK with Stygian Desolator, and then our carry was Silencer, and he had a Force Boots. So he had Hurricane Pike and Force Boots. But It's like just a super late game where it's just like so hectic. You don't get it very often. And shout out to the Weaver Ag Shard as well, because they had a Sand King on their team, and that makes the bugs latch to invisible targets. So, another way of getting through Sandstorm. Yeah, I savor the late game Dota games, because you don't ever get them.
Yeah.
Especially when it's like, everybody has a tier 5 item, and I've never seen 3 Aether Lens on it, or 3 Aeon Discs on a team before, but they actually procced like crazy. The Lion, that was like, the Lion would Ags ult and like 3 Aeon Discs would pop, and it's like, okay, we can go on the Lion now.
So Aeon Disc, it's not like Abaddon's Borrowed Time where you could do enough damage to not proc it. Do you know what I mean? Say if the Lion
like
could 100
80% or something, right?
But say you have 80% HP and then Lion's Finger would one shot you.
No, it's whenever it falls below 70. So it kind of just, if you were at 40% and it went off, it would just stop you at like the 40. You wouldn't take any damage. Basically.
But say you're at 80%, it's not procced, it's not on cooldown. Could you get one shotted with it out, and it wouldn't proc, or would it always?
No, I think it would stop you at 70.
Okay. So yeah, that's interesting.
There's no like threshold where you get overkilled.
Yeah.
It's like through the proc.
That's really useful then.
Yeah. My games, I would shout out the fact that I was playing a beautiful Queen of Pain in that Slark win that Adam talked about earlier. So I hope you're proud of me, Marco. 13-2 Quap, wrecking the Immortal Tinker mid. So that was pretty fun. Quap's just a broken hero. I mean, you just press Q and just win. Beyond that, speaking of Tinker, got a Tinker win in. Feels good. I can love a Tinker win so much. And this was an absolute circus game, because I knew I wanted to play Tinker, because I was playing solo unranked. So I was like, if this isn't the time to play Tinker, I don't know what is. It's solo unranked, no one's going to flame me, just chill out, get some tunes on, get some like drum and bass on, play some Tinker, good times. So I mark mid and fade Tinker, and then second phase, some guy just picks Storm and marks mid, like after me, and I'm like,
nice.
Okay, no. So I'm like, all right, dual mid it is. Pick the Tinker, and then I'm just dual midding me and Storm versus Invoker. So that was good fun. Obviously, I went and like did a lot of stacking, but I don't know if this happens to you guys. I'm sure it doesn't because you guys have guides turned on, but I'm still crippled by guides in Dota and autopilot leveling spells I don't want to level just instantly, like out of
you just see the
instinct.
Highlighted skill and you're like, okay, this is it, and you're like, no.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I just see that. I know for a fact I've planned before, I'm level 2, I'm 1 point in laser, 1 point in March, I'm going to get March next level for sure, so make sure you don't press laser, which is what the guide's going to tell you to do. Then I pop 3 and the guide highlights laser and I just instantly control Q, which to level laser again. It's like, what are you doing? I'm brain dead, and I just instantly like I've got some sort of twitch, just like straight level the highlighted spell straight away. So that crippled me in the Tinker game because I leveled laser instead of E, and then also if you level something out of order when you follow a guide, it doesn't skip to the next level. So, for example, if I leveled March of the Machines instead of Laser at level 3, and the guide says Laser, I did March, at level 4, it will still say Laser, as if I'm level 3. Like I've got a level Laser before it moves on. So that means when you get to level 6, it doesn't tell you to level Alt on the guide. It tells you to level...
Like, come on, the Laser.
Yeah, it's like you still need to level Laser because you missed it at level 3. So I then leveled, like, March instead of Alt at level 6 or something. It was just, it was a disaster. But got the win in the end.
You won.
Yeah, I mean, this game just proves that I'm in absolute trash tier Dota, because our lineup is Jakiro, good old POS 5, Jakiro, then a no POS 4, POS 3 Alchemist, POS 2 Storm / Tinker, and POS 1 Anti-Mage. And we actually won this game. So, I don't know, the enemies... We were very far behind. They had a Medusa that was very fat, and they had a Anti-Mage they had an Invoker that was like running around cross-wex. But they honestly threw from trying too hard. The Invoker was crushing, like, out of the lane and was doing lots of work, but then thought that he could just have complete free reign because he thought that all 5 of our heroes would just be AFK farming, which they kind of were. But when you run in on Invoker deep into enemy territory, you might find an Alchemist and an AM farming, but it's really easy for them to turn on you and just a Jakiro to turn up and you're dead. So they kind of threw the game really hard, and it basically came down to us versus an Invoker that had fallen off critically from trying to solo the game by himself. It was us versus Medusa, basically, and in the end we overcame. I got gifted an Ags from Alchemist, which was massive, because it's quite difficult for me to laser Medusa with the Ags and the Ag Shard, because I get a snake hit at me, which obviously you don't want as Tinker. So with the Ags, I could just laser somebody else or laser a Mantra Illusion.
And bounce it, and it doesn't give you the snake?
No, it doesn't give you the snake, no.
Nice.
So the Ags was really massive, and I was underfarmed because I was a dual mid Tinker that mis-leveled all the spells, so I was just like crying in the jungle. So it was pretty big to get this Ags from the Alchemist. He did me a solid, and then it was good times. Very, very tight game, but that was good. And then I lost on Shadow Fiend, which I think we worked out last week's my worst hero, right? I think my absolute worst hero. So another loss. I actually felt this one was, again, it's another completely undeserved Shadow Fiend loss. This is a world-class SF performance, and we had a Sand King that's the most critical hero, as Sand King often is. You need that Sand King to, like, make plays for you. And our SK just got absolutely destroyed versus a Crystal Maiden Luna lane. So Crystal Maiden Luna versus Sand King Mirana. I feel like Sand King Mirana should be able to do okay in that lane. But instead, SK has literally half Luna's net worth at 10. In fact, less than. SK's got 2.3k net worth at 10, and Luna's got 5.5k. So I don't know what happened there, but SK had a horrible, horrible game, and he needed to have a very good game. So that's another loss on the scoreboard on Shadow Fiend, so that feels bad. Nothing else to report really other than that. I won a game on Enigma, which was fun. I won a game on Lifestealer with Nick, guest Nick, which was good fun. Chomping people on the Lifestealer, and this game actually gave me a bit of food for thought that we might come onto later. We'll see if we get there.
Is Lifestealer on 3 passives now? Is it 2?
2, right? You've got Infest and you've got Rage.
Oh, yeah.
But then you can buy the Ag Shard to give you back open wounds.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's kind of like he's got 3. Because I think that's kind of cool, or a lot of people get that.
Yeah, although open wounds isn't active, isn't it? So.
Yeah, so he's got 3 actives.
Yeah, he's 3 actives.
Yeah.
It's 3 too many if you're Marco.
Yeah, fucking hell. Maybe one for next week, but China's been running POS 1 Pudge, or LGD has.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know if you saw, they had some really wacko drafts. One game they had this POS, well, it's not wacko to Adam, but POS 5 Gyro with a POS 1 Pudge, and then a Ricky Mid, Wybin Offlane, and then a roaming Hoodwink. And then they ran Pudge again. I mean, they did lose both games, so let's maybe just brush that under the carpet. POS 1 Pudge twice. I think my match history's been getting scouted because I always knew it was a thing. So might have to brush that off and then talk about it next week.
Yeah, and was it the classic like ethereal shroud into Ags sort of thing?
That, yeah, first one I think probably. I don't know if it was Blink Hood Shroud or Hood Blink Shroud, but it was a 10-minute Blink, so probably Blink first in this one game, followed by Shroud, then Ags. Then in the other game it was Hood, Ags, BKB, Blink. So I do think the Ags is core for a core Pudge, because it's now pretty good deeps. And then Blink, I've said it before, I mean, I can't remember when we had this game where we were kind of debating what item build some POS 3 Pudge should have gone, but to me, Blink is so necessary to do anything. So, I'll have to try that. POS 1 Pudge, POS 3 Anti-Mage, that's the to-do list.
Nice, that's a healthy to-do
list.
That's
so healthy, bloody hell.
That's a battle pass territory. That's a battle pass to-do list.
I'll tell you, well, just to go back to my game, if we're going to talk about, position 3 AM, another position 3 that's obnoxious and I'm tired of is Dragon Knight. Even though it was in my 70-minute game and we won, that felt just absurd. And we've seen that for a very long time, going back to the Major and stuff, but that hero can't get bullied out of lane at all. He just, sits there and has all the armor, all the regen, and then just stuns you for a really long time.
Yeah.
And you get the Midas at, no problem, 8-minute easy. All of a sudden, you're the carry from the offlane. What do they do against when you get the level 18 dragon? It's super easy chip damage on towers and push, and it's just everything.
DK's an interesting hero. Yeah. He is strong. I used to feel like he was rubbish for me, but now I'm a believer in the Dragon Knight for sure.
Can I call something I think is going to happen in the patch?
Absolutely, yeah. We're all for speculation here.
Okay. Dragon Lance will not be disassemblable anymore. No
Who's
more Dragon
disassembling
Lance. Luna, Gyro. A lot of Gyro. Because you buy a Dragon Lance, and then you disassemble the Dragon Lance for your Ags, and then you build the Dragon Lance again, and you disassemble the Dragon Lance for your BKB.
Oh.
And it's just what is going on? And you're still I'm cool with having 2 slippers, or not, bands of Elven Skin. Mm-hmm. I'm cool with that. That's 12 Agi.
Yeah.
And you just keep disassembling and combining it, and it's damn, this is... Usually when something gets you get to use it as part of like 3 build-ups. It's like not, they kind of mix that. It just is like too efficient.
Can you disassemble any item?
No.
I can't remember hearing about disassembling an item into its core components. Obviously, but then that's like mask.
Halberd, you could.
It? Yeah.
And then it got a recipe. And then, I don't know if someone gets a recipe, it makes it not disassemblable, but like
yeah.
You can probably disassemble the Sanjin Yasha Kai Yasha, right?
I've never, considered that.
Yeah, because you can disassemble Sanjin Yasha, and then you go like Manta Halberd. I've done that before on a jug. It's not very good, but sometimes it happens.
Is it the recipe that makes it do that? Can you disassemble Hood?
So is it just anything without a recipe then you could disassemble?
I don't know if it is like, I think it might just be certain items have the exception that they can be disassembled.
Yeah, that's a funny one.
Hood can be disassembled, actually. Maybe it is everything
without
a
recipe. Yeah, it must be
recipe.
the recipe that... Well, I mean, anything you can disassemble within like 8 seconds of making it.
Oh, okay.
After
Maybe
that,
you can't disassemble Hood then.
No, I think I don't know. I guess we could test it, but I don't know if Dragonlance has gone back and forth from being able to be disassembled, but it's really strong right now. It always gets its stats changed, but it's it got buffed and now I think it's pretty strong.
So you can't disassemble Hood, that's confirmed. I just tested it. So some items you just can't. Maybe it's because it's got a secret shop component? I honestly don't know. But yeah, interesting. I think that's a pretty good prediction in general. I think Dragonlance is pretty insane. It's just a great item.
Can you still
Yeah.
Do Nullifier? Can that be disassembled? You can do Nullifier into Divine, I think.
I'm not sure. Well, I'll come back to you on that. But it's good when Meepo's buying it just for the stats. Like that used to be the way Dragonlance was, and then they nerfed it so that it wasn't. And now Meepos are going double Dragonlance again, so it's probably a bit too damn good. You can't disassemble Nullifier. It's stuck, I'm afraid. So yeah. Stat Corner. Let's fly into a Stat Corner and then maybe revisit this AM in a bit more depth, because I must admit, it's something that's passed me by for the most part. So, Stat Corner this week, it's damage manipulation, or more specifically, damage reduction and amplification. An interesting topic, I guess somewhat forgotten about in some circumstances. It's difficult to calculate in some ways, I suppose, and there are some spells that you might not realise have damage reduction or damage amplification. First of all, I'm interested, what comes to mind straight off the bat, like when you think of damage reduction, like the most obvious examples of damage reduction in the game? Because I had 2 that I thought of straight away, but maybe I'd be interested if it's different.
Oracle W.
Ooh, what does that do? Is that not 100%?
That's isn't that be reduction? No magic damage on the target?
Well, is that not just 100% magic resistance?
Oh wait, so we're talking about reduction?
So say like a Pit Lord Atrophy Aura applies.
Yeah, so not...
Or like Bristleback?
Reduction. Yeah, like Bristleback, yeah.
I wasn't thinking of... We're not 100%, okay.
Or not necessarily... Because Fate's Edict isn't damage reduction, it's magic damage reduction, if you know what I mean.
Well,
100%
I think it's
magic resist.
Yeah, it's resistance. But there is a distinction between reduction and resistance. Well, 2 sides of the same coin, kind of, but there's still a difference.
Yeah, in the sense that when I'm talking about damage reduction and damage amplification, I mean in all forms.
Yeah.
Apart from some exceptions, there are many forms of, say, something like Veil is damage amplification, but not attack damage. But all spell damage. So this is a clarification I'm interested in. Veil of Discord is spell damage amplification. Does that mean that spells that deal physical damage are still amplified?
I think so.
Yeah, I believe that's the case.
I always thought it was magic, so I don't know.
That's another one for the test.
Is there a thing called magic damage amp, or is it just pure spell? It's just spell amp, or
there is magic damage amp, isn't there?
Yeah. What does Akaya say?
What does Akaya say?
Kaya says spell amplification, spell lifesteal amplification. So that would seem that it would be all spells, unless we're saying that we don't believe that. We believe it's only magic damage, and spells that deal physical damage don't get increased.
I reckon those would get increased. This works on all damage types, increases damage of abilities, works on all damage types, so yeah. It does what it says on the tin.
Yeah, which is spell damage, so yeah.
Did you know, so I'm like on the Dota 2 item list, trying to find Ethereal Blade. Did you know there's 10 items in Dota with Blade in the name?
Oh, that's
trying to control F and search, and it's like, there's 10 of these?
Bonus stat corner.
Quiz. Yeah, you can rinse them off.
Yeah. So you mentioned Bristleback. Let's start with that. Are you aware of Bristleback's damage reduction? Say at max level. At max annoyance.
Max level for back, I think, is 64%, and side 32%.
I'll say 70 and 35.
Ooh, you're overrating the Bristleback. It's only 40% from the back at level 4, and 20% from the side.
At max?
Yeah, so 40% at max. That's crazy. It's not even 50. Yeah. It's not much, is it? When you consider that to Mars with Bulwark, which is the other way around, so that's obviously front damage reduction and side damage reduction again. So what do you think that is for Mars?
Maybe I'm going to go... I want to steal Adam's 70-35.
Wow.
Well, I'll go lower this time and say 50-25.
So that one is 70-35. So Mars Bulwark is 70.
The shield is too strong.
Yeah, it's interesting that, isn't it? When you compare them, because they're actually identical spells, other than one is front and one is back. Neither of them do anything else. There's no additional. I suppose Bristleback actually gives you the chance to spray quills.
I think that's why. I don't know if you would want it to be 70 and 35 on Bristleback, because you would never take damage and you would never proc quills.
That's true. But also with Mars Bulwark, you can't hit. It is more restricted.
True.
So
very
that's
true,
the trade-off.
You do obviously get the
slower,
projectile thing on Bulwark as well.
That's far too complex.
Yeah, but also I think it's way more valuable to have back reduction than front reduction. I mean, obviously these heroes are balanced around that, so someone like Mars, he kind of needs to face forward if he wants to use his shield and use his spear. So but someone like Bristle, I feel like it's so much harder to kill someone that's running away from you. It's like Mars, if he wants to use Bulwark, he can't run away and also be hard to kill, which is, do you know what I mean? It's so much more valuable to be like, let's kill this guy, and then he's not only is he not taking any damage, he's also making you overextend and running away and putting you in a weird position, whereas Mars is just going to walk closer and closer to you if he wants to not take damage.
Well, he can walk backwards slowly, so it's not really a run.
It's a bit rubbish, but yeah.
Yeah. But
so you could, yeah.
It's very manly Spartan, just slowly moving backwards whilst he's getting nailed in the front.
Yeah. And it's an interesting one, given that the damage reduction for Bulwark is almost double that of Bristleback. You certainly think of Bristleback as a tankier hero that's harder to kill than a Mars. And I know that's because of how they're built, right? You know, it's not just because of the spell. Mars wants to get blinks and BKBs and stuff like that, whereas Bristle often tanks up further with items. But I think that is a function of how much better it is to be able to run away and not be killed and still do loads of damage while not turning to hit people. Obviously, in an ideal world, Bristol's hitting as well, because we know Warpath's kind of insane. But anyway, that's an interesting bit of damage reduction on the two most obvious examples. Some other examples? I mean, shout out any if you can think of any.
I think Pit Lord's a good shout, but that's external rather than...
It's certainly
internal.
a good shout, though, yeah. It's definitely a good shout. I mean, we know how much we love Underlord on the Meta Podcast.
Like an offensive aura rather than a defensive passive.
So the damage reduction is actually 35% in a 900 aura.
Base damage.
Yeah. Losing a portion of their base damage. So, I mean, it's sort of with an asterisk, because it's not, full-on damage or whatever. If you get Laguna Bladed, you're still getting Laguna Bladed. But it's a base damage reduction of 35%, which is very sizable. Won't dwell on that too much, because we've got some other just pure, straight-up damage reduction stats to get through. So we've got Dispersion on Spectre. We can go through the whole spell, because it doesn't just reduce damage, it also deals some out. But do you know what the damage reduction element of Dispersion is?
Is it damage reduction? So
I didn't even know it had damage reduction. I thought it just gave damage based on how much you take, so this is news to me.
Yeah, I thought it reflected damage off spec, which I guess is practically the same as damage reduction, because you're taking less damage because you're reflecting it. Is it like 15%? 16%?
It's actually 20%.
20%.
So that
and
one
it
makes
has
sense.
the talent too.
Yeah, and it has the 5%
Yeah.
talent. So it could be 25. But yeah,
at 20%, it means you take 100 as spec, but you reflect 20, so you've only taken 80. So it is effective damage reduction, yes.
What do you mean you take 100? You'd only take 80% of the damage.
No, yeah, so
and then
the
take 20.
enemy deals 100 damage
Yeah.
to you, but the spec reflects 20, so the spec gets hurt 80,
Yeah.
and 20 goes back to the other enemy.
Yeah. Yeah, so
So
it
that
is
would be
damage
like a
reduction, it's
20%,
also damage
damage
dealt as
reduction.
well.
Yeah.
So that's pretty damn strong. I mean, Dispersion's a bonkers spell. We know that's why Spectre's arguably the strongest late game hero, I think. I'd certainly be privy to an argument like that.
And then isn't there something about the radius? The effectiveness of Dispersion is higher the closer the unit is to spec. Is there something about that?
No, I don't think so. It doesn't mention that. Oh, the effect lessens with distance.
Yeah, that.
Oh, okay. So what does that mean? So is 20% the maximum damage reflection?
I think so.
I didn't know if it was like that, or just if you're not within a range. Like maybe Lena wouldn't take any damage because she's from so far or something.
It's interesting. It says minimum radius 300, maximum radius 700.
So I think it maybe is to do with who gets hit by this dispersion. So the damage reduction perhaps will always apply, but if you're outside 700 radius, it won't reflect onto you. I feel like maybe the dispersion damage reduction doesn't apply if you're outside 700 though.
But it says minimum radius as well. So does that mean it doesn't take effect inside of 300 if you're right next to the spec? That can't be right.
No,
that can't be right. Unless that's when the other passive starts proccing.
Or that's when it starts reducing. So like anything inside 300 is max, and then yeah, that's probably more likely, Adam's favourite hero, Lich, or one of favourite heroes, has got this awesome Frost Shield spell. Ice Armor, living in 2019. That's got a nice bit of damage reduction. I don't know if you know what that is at max level, say.
70?
Oh, I want to say 50.
Ooh, 60. Slap bang in the
70
middle.
with the talent at 10.
Yes. Yeah. And this reduces all attack damage. It doesn't affect spell damage, so you still take spell damage from Frost Shield. You take 50% damage reduction with Nyx's Burrow. I might just slap out some Ags and some Ag Scepters, because there's a few. 50% damage reduction when you're burrowed as Nyx Assassin. 40% damage reduction for 4.5 seconds of Stampede if you're Centaur Warrunner. So that can be a very cool pickup on Centaur. And of course Stampede can be even longer with the talent. Or no, it makes it longer with the Ags, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. It makes it a second longer with Ags, I believe. So I think it's 5.5 seconds of 40% damage reduction. Legion Commander's Duel gives you and the person you're dueling 50% damage reduction in the duel from all outside targets, I think.
Yeah, they just recently changed that.
Did it used to be 100% damage reduction? It was just you and the person you're dueling?
And you got magic resistant, or like BKB, but they changed it now to where just flat 50 for each of you, and it really lowers the cooldown on duel.
Okay. And then we've also got Bounty Hunter's Aghanim Shard, which gives 35% damage reduction on Shadow Walk.
It used to be 50, I think.
Yeah, and then it was insane. Yeah. How does that work again? Is that upon pressing it, you get it for a certain amount of time?
As long as you're in that invisible mode, it's just damage reduction.
Yeah.
So it's almost better to, like, you know, when you get dusted and you were slower, sometimes you cast a spell so you get out of it and can run faster, but it's like, nah, you're actually just way more tanky. And Vez just be slow and walk away.
Yeah. Other sources of damage reduction: Gravekeeper's Cloak, 20% damage reduction per layer. Max layers 4 or 9, but it peaks at 80%. If that sounds complicated to you, then don't play Visage, like us, like we don't. And then we've got Pangolier Shield Crash, which damage reduction per hero. I don't know if you want to take a stab at this one. I'd be impressed if you get it.
14.
I think 18. No, 18% per hero.
Wow, well done. 18% per hero.
I am a Pango player.
Are you a Pango player? I've been watching too much.
I'm a Pango player.
Hit a Meepo and be 100%.
Yeah. I've seen that. I've been there as a Meepo player.
God, we've played against that, I remember.
Yeah, that's some rough time.
Yeah.
And I believe we've only got one thing that rounds us out here, and that's Ursa's Enrage, which gives how much damage reduction, do you think, to Ursa?
80?
80 it is. How long?
Impressive.
At max level?
At max...
it seems so long. It seems so long.
I think 4.55.
Yeah.
5.5.
Well done, it is 4.55.
Oh,
This is a strong stat core performance, Marco. Very well done. You haven't been playing Dota, you've just been reading up on
just been fucking reading.
Yeah.
What about Viper passive?
That's magic resist.
Oh, we're still okay. We've been doing damage the entire time, not magic damage.
Yeah, magic resist's a whole nother. Yeah. There's a lot of magic resist in the game, just even like talents and stuff. Maybe next week. It's interesting that Winter Wyvern's Curse is considered damage reduction, 100% damage reduction. I don't know why. I don't really feel like it's worth talking about because it's sort of it doesn't really count.
Yeah, it's for like just the people that are hitting.
Yeah.
But
then it used to be the case that
your allies as well can't attack the target, but you can as the Wyvern.
Yeah,
yes.
It's only. But then wasn't there a time when your allies could do damage to the Winter's cursed target?
I don't think that lasted very long.
Yeah, because it does sound redonk, but I think it was a thing.
Interesting. Final little stat on a side note. How much damage reduction do towers get from backdoor protection?
I guess it's not 100 because you can go through backdoor protection.
Yeah.
So...
I wasn't even aware it got this, to be honest. I mean, I guess
I thought it just got regen.
Yeah, so it gets... Yeah, it gets regen and it gets damage reduction, which is kind of interesting.
Say like 30% maybe, I don't know.
50 in between. It also gets 75% damage reduction against illusions, which I wasn't aware of, so it's an interesting little nugget of stat right there. Yeah.
Interesting. Did you... And then, I doubt you ever played with without backdoor protection, Stan.
No, I've always had
that must
backdoor.
Be quite a old school thing. What a quality of life change that was. Like, you think Nemistice is cheesy when, like, Fury or Lesh just kill a building through backdoor protection. It's like, imagine playing the game without backdoor protection. I remember there'd be Clinxes that would just invis run across the map and then pew a tower down in about 2 seconds. Oh, terrible times.
Yeah. Feels bad. I suppose there's also Medusa's mana shield for damage reduction, which isn't listed here, but I don't know why, because I feel like that's all damage, isn't it?
Is it? That's not damage. Is that damage reduction? Is that not just you lose mana in it replace of HP?
Creates a shield that absorbs 70% of incoming damage in exchange for Medusa's mana. So 70% damage reduction.
Okay, because it's not your HP that's going down, it's your mana that's going down. Yeah, that's an interesting one.
So yeah, there's that one as well. Talk to me about this offlane anti-mage then. What have I missed with this trend? What's going on? What's the idea? Why is it work? Is it good?
So, this is Slosser's Way round 2. He ruined one of our games. Or maybe you guys weren't in it, but the one with the offlane sniper.
Oh, gosh.
The sniper that goes, satanic. I don't think, to his credit or fairness to him, I don't think he said to do that offlane. I think he said 1 or 2. And
did he?
We just and we just got the guy that was like, well, it can work anywhere.
Yeah.
But this one is strictly offlane anti-mage, and I have played against it. Not in the lane against it, but I played in a game against it. And he had a lot of success with it, and I do think it has merits. It seems pretty good. But I believe the build is Vanguard and then Echo Saber and or Basher. Some of the games I don't think he went second item Echo Saber. He just got like a Basher.
And then just try and blink in, be tanky, and bash people, disrupt people.
Yeah, like blink out, blink in, blink out. Vanguard plus counterspell, magic resist makes you a very tanky hero. And you just blow up supports and mage heroes with your mana void. And burn everyone's mana, which is very annoying to deal with.
Yeah, because with the Vanguard plus counterspell, and then when you've got Echo Saber, which is 15 strength, plus Power Treads, which can give you 10 strength, I think.
Plus a strength talent, I think.
Plus I think it's a 9 strength talent, so now that's 34 strength from those 3 things. Is it 20 HP?
Yeah.
Per strength, 680 HP. It naturally got armor, because it's an agi hero, but then you've got this physical damage reduction Vanguard, magic damage reduction, or protection, counterspell. So you're actually such a nuisance. So when you're blinking in people's face, like it's like you're like a timber saw, just pissing people off, and then they can't really ignore you because you blink on top of them. But then you just soak damage, soak spells, and then you can blow them up with a big bomb, mana void. Sounds pretty fun, and in the lane as well. I feel like anti-mage is a misconception of, because typically this hero's so weak because you build Battle Fury Manta, and you feel like, and that's your items, let's say 20, 21 minutes, 22 minutes, and you are a glass cannon. You think that that's the case in laning, but actually in laning, anti-mage is a really disruptive hero. With mana burn, right-clicking any hero, it's a good damage passive, it's pretty effective damage, and then it's pretty effective to drain mana, and then you've got armor because you're an agi hero, so you win most trades, really, in laning. So you can be very disruptive, and then if you're in the off lane against a somewhat weaker POS 1, and you've got a strong POS 4 to boot, you actually can be pretty annoying in the lane, in theory. It's not like you're a squishy little hero.
Yeah, you're just you're a bruiser. You're a battle mage.
Yeah.
Like, there's no Vanguard, or no, like, Manta style. It's not like you're blinking and manting. You're like, no, I'm just gonna blink in and right-click this person. And I'll be tanky enough to deal with it. And if you have Echo, blink in Echo, they're slow. They've been slowed. And also, you've burned off, like, 3/10 of their mana in 2 hits. Some heroes, there's like, they get hit, maybe they're at half mana to start, and you hit them to 0, then they're absolutely useless after that.
And then... Sorry, go on.
There's an item I don't think I've bought yet, and I think it's cool, and I think it could get buffed in the patch, and it's got half the same name as Anti-Mage. Mage Slayer.
Mage Slayer.
Yeah. That could be pretty fun on the AM. I know it's not doesn't give you much, like a Basher gives you a Bash, or Manta gives you a Dispel. But it could be kind of just add to the Mage.
It turns off their magic.
It turns off their magic.
Even less.
Yeah, and gives you a bit more DPS. That could be quite fun to get.
Does the magic resist stack? So would it be additive with this crazy high magic resist?
No, it would be multiplied. But it's still more... The thing is, that what made it annoying is that what you were saying about how anti-mages are so not tanky, because they have... for most of the game, they have like Battle Fury Yasha and Agi treads. But he, like, jumping at you in the mid-game, and all of a sudden, it's like they have... late game AM HP because he's got 34 strength or whatever. He's got flat HP from Vanguard, and then he's got all the strength, and you're just like, what do I do against this? I forget what hero I was, but it was a support of some kind. It's like none of my magic damage does. I might have been a lich. It's like, okay, can't do anything. A lot of my stuff. What am I going to do? Counterspell a Lich ult into myself. And like, do you want me to gaze and suck this guy in? Because he's just going to like come closer to me and then just hit me and blow me up.
Yeah.
Also, the mana burn is so grim. If you're some leaner hero or something in the mid game and there's an AM with Vanguard blinking at you, 2 hits and you've lost 130 mana. That's a Dragon Slave. Like, it's so annoying. Like that mana burn is triggering. Mana burn's a triggering mechanic just in general, so always good.
64 mana burn per hit, but then it also says max mana burn per hit 3.4%. But then you also at 15 you could get the plus 0.6% mana burn. I think most of the time you get 8 armor, though, because then you're even more of a battle slayer. Like 9 strength, 8 armor, with 10 and 15.
Yeah.
And then at 20, get plus 0.1 mana void damage multiplier if you're blowing up mages, or plus 1 second mana void stun, which makes it a 1.3 second stun.
That
AoE.
8 armor at level 15 feels like a really value talent, because chainmail is 10 armor, 1.4k gold. So 8 armor at level 15. I feel like you don't get many 15 talents with that much attribute bonus. So, yeah, you hit 15, you're super tanky.
Yeah. Well, splashing out on that taunt as well, you know, they're like, the classic anti-mage taunt that's just spammed every time it's in a pro game. Need a taunt, or else it's not worth playing, I don't think. Yeah.
So, and a 6-second blink. I mean, blink heroes.
Yeah, very fun.
Very gross.
Is it getting the new meta seal of approval? Go to your nearest rank game and play it? Or do you think,
I don't think I guess right now there's that you first pick it and then people think that they're countering a carry and you probably just play it offlane, but I do think you would have picked it a little bit later. I think there's certain carries you would do nothing to. Or maybe some lanes where you'd be sad, but if you have a strong 4, you can do some work. Maybe not a Mirana, because you have like no help setting up arrows. But like if you have like Hoodwink or I don't know, any stunner, you just battle on people.
Yeah, this is the classic. Whenever we talk about any pos 3 or 4 hero, if they lack disable or lack lockdown, the biggest time they will do shit is when the rest of your team also lacks disable and lacks lockdown and lacks stuns. So I feel like it would feel really bad to play a game where you've got no stuns. Like, it's a basic comment, but I feel like that's the biggest downfall. So if you can make sure that your 4, 5, even your 2 have got some sort of control, then definitely it's got more license to work. I do think, yeah, you're probably never going to last pick your POS 3 hero, so you're going to pick it second phase and see 2 enemy heroes. I guess you'll typically see POS 4, POS 5. And I guess you're probably always going to be good against whatever POS 4 or POS 5 they pick. Can't really think
especially one that you can easily use counterspell, like some Witch Doctor or something. Like, it's so easy to counterspell that.
I feel like you wouldn't mind blinking into any POS 4 or POS 5.
Yeah, it's like you blink on the POS 5, and then they're like, they can't trade with you because you're mana burning them so hard.
And then
it's so comically easy to get a Vanguard. Like, it's so cheap nowadays.
Yeah.
And the anti-mage with a Ring of Health is like, got, what, maybe 10 or 11 region, something like that. And it's like, okay, what do we do?
Because even if the typical anti-mage fail is you say blink in and get disabled, or you don't get your counterspell off, you get locked down, and then you're squishy, and you made a paper and you die. But in this case, even if that happens, you get caught out or locked, disabled after your aggressive blink. Because of all these items and talents, you're so happy to tank all those spells and attention because you're the POS 3, and then you've got other cores that will follow up and do damage, do work. So seems pretty good. I think Echo Saber is obviously this massively important item. And I think Echo Saber, reading its stats right now, at 2.5k gold, is very tasty. We have seen Echo Saber get picked up in unconventional positions like your POS 1 spec, and other POS 1 heroes. There was a little bit of a phase where building Echo Saber because the pros viewed it as such value. And I do think it is value for that price. So maybe that could get tweaked and then it throws this off quite a little bit. Vanguard again is also core and so value again for that tankiness. So it feels alright. Obviously it's not got too much evidence to back it up, but I'd be well excited to play it because it's fun to farm, hit neutrals, but it's also pretty fun to blink on heroes all the time and be uber aggressive.
It's fun to reflect spells as well, I would say.
Oh, it took me about 2 years to learn that spell. Yeah.
I remember when they added that in and everyone was like, what? He's got a Lotus and Lincoln's active on a 4-second cooldown. I'm like, what? Yeah, that blew my mind a bit when that one drops. Yeah. Anything else you want to talk about? Either on the anti-mage offlane trend or general observations?
I had, not that I can think of now, but when I play and I see things in game, I'm like, yeah, that'll probably change. And other than Dragonlance, I can't remember what other tweaks I thought were going to happen. Gyro will probably be touched up somehow. Yeah. I don't know how you make it to where, like, you can't skill stats on this hero.
Yeah. Man, Gyro's a bonkers hero. Me and Adam got absolutely ran over by a Gyrocopter the other day in a game. And
so sad.
This is a Gyro that died 3 times as well and still had 980 GPM or like 972 GPM and just got a Satanic about 3 minutes in or something when you were something stupid and just
do like unkillable. 4 stacks and unranks and goes level 25 Coddle with a Gyro pick and then he just AFKs. I'm feeling good as my position 1 Bloodseeker got a 9-minute Midas and a 14-minute Maelstrom. I'm like, I'm good to go. And he gets Dragonlance Treads Ags at 13. I'm like, oh, this game's over.
Yeah.
But Bloodseeker cannot go within range of a Gyro and attack him. He just blows up.
Yeah, that was us multiple times, but yeah, we'll ignore that we did it.
I want to revisit a point that I made before on the pod about killing the carry's tier 1 tower and how it seems like it's really good to kill their tower, But remember when we were talking about the laning stage and we said that the laning stage doesn't end when you kill the enemy's tower, tier 1? This was a perfect example of that because we had a offlane duo of Enigma Chikiro laning against, I believe, the Kotal Gyro. And they killed the Gyro's tower really early in, like 6 minutes in or something. So, like, and they were doing great. This Gyro, like, didn't have a ton of farm, like 5 minutes in. He was sort of struggling. He's like 5th in net worth, 5 minutes in. They kill the tower, and then Enigma and Chikiro just leave the whole area, the whole side of the map, and they start jungling themselves. Chikiro starts trying to get kills in other lanes, and Gyro basically, through losing his tower, has free farm for the rest of the game, and certainly the rest of the lane, because Enigma and Chikiro sort of abandon it. They're like, job's done, wrap it up, we got the tower. And instead, what they needed to do was to keep hounding this gyrocopter and not let him get any lane creeps. So I just think that's a classic mistake in, I don't even want to say low level Dota, because I mean, Dota buff, this would be a high level game. There's immortals in this game. So it's just a classic mistake to just kill the enemy tower and then just leave the carry alone. Yeah, and I felt like we got Omega punished for this one. Omega punished, so.
Yeah, in theory, you take the tower, but what is meant to happen is that the carry is meant to be forced away and they go on the opposite side of the map and they might go to their own triangle or the off lane or the woods. Like, that's what's meant to happen at the same time. But that happens because of your point where you would continue having an aggressive presence in the enemy safe lane and you would make it such that they couldn't stay there because, I mean, they're so vulnerable. Towers are defensive objectives, provide teleportation. If that's not there, then the carry shouldn't have any right to be in that side of the map because it's so vulnerable. No protection. So yeah, that's kind of sad. To then just give it him for free. For no reason. Yeah,
that was a very rough one. 972 GPM. Man, I want a 972 GPM game at some point, but alas. Any other things we want to shout out? Maybe any things we think might get nerfed in the patch? I mean, this is turning into a classic sort of new meta meme, is dwelling on a patch that's never going to come. But
no, they said after. They're saying after the event, right?
Oh, is that?
Did someone say that? Or
after Nemistice, isn't that what it said?
Oh, I don't know. I missed that.
I saw a post, but did a Valve person say that?
What was the last thing? This battle level bundle announcement on August 5th. And it says, in other news, gameplay patch 7.30 will be arriving after the battle pass ends. We're working on it.
Oh, okay.
And the battle pass ends on the 17th, right?
Yeah, it's only a week and 2 days or something like that.
Yeah. So,
cool. 2 pods time.
It's coming.
2 pods time, yeah.
But they did say after the battle pass ends. They did not give a date.
Yes, that's true.
It could be weeks after the battle pass ends, and they'd still be telling the truth, technically.
Yeah, classic Valve time move. Yeah. Well, that's been a nice episode of New Meta Podcast, episode 151, to get it right. Join us again next week, where we'll be giddy with excitement for the patch, only to be disappointed next week when, as Adam says, the no-date classic, the Valve time classic, strikes again. So, until then, play Offlane Anti-Mage, don't play techies, try not to get in a game with my SF, get in a game with my Tinker, play Nemistice with Marco, etc., etc., etc. Have final whistle.